Today we are talking about personal development, unsolved emotions, and troubleshooting. Again, there's a bit of troubleshooting we always need to consider when something doesn't go quite the way we want it to. But, however, the main focus on today's teaching content is on you, not on your client. And not on Bert Hellinger's Orders of Love or any other facilitation skills. It's all about your personal development. Yeah? So, we talk about personal development, we talk about lifestyle choices and what that has to do with your work. We talk about unsolved or trapped emotions. We will talk about conditioned belief systems. We will have, of course, a lovely exercise, hopefully lovely. We will also talk after the break about the dark night of the soul, about blind spots, about lacatosis, again, troubleshooting when needed, especially if you're dealing with mentally impaired participants, and what to do with family secrets. That's our focus of today. So let's jump into it. And then if we have time, we have another exercise. So let's jump into it. You can only give what you have. See what you know and find what is previously in your possession. So what does that mean? That sounds very logical and self-explanatory, but it is not. Most people don't get it. Yeah? I make an example. If people are telling you have to let go, you have to let go, you have to let go, whatever is bothering you, let it go, let it go. And then you get the answer, how? How do I let go? That's a good question, right? It's not so easy. Just I want to let go. This is not an intent. You have to do something to let go. Now you can let go physically, emotionally, only that which you fully have or embrace first. Yeah? And I make an example. If you let go of a hot potato in your hand, you know how that feels, right? Most of you, when you're cooking. What are you doing? You just open your fingers. There's not even a mind process involved. Yeah? It's a reaction. The letting go of a hot potato is a reaction. Why? Because the sensation is too hot and unbearable. And you practically only have this sensation while you grip onto the potato. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a problem, right? So, the same with emotions. You need to possess them first. And once you're aware that they are there, you can just let them go. This is like a reflex. We'll say that you don't need to do strange things to let go. Once you fully possess them, the letting go is happening absolutely automatically if it is too hot, too hard to bear, too hard to bear, too heavy to carry. This is all an automatism. What most people are struggling about is they don't hold the hot potato. Yeah? They look at the hot potato and they think about it. But they cannot let go of a hot potato when you don't hold them in your hand. Therefore, the reflex is not happening. Yeah? And it's only thinking about hot potatoes and what would I do if I have a hot potato and what difficult procedures do I have to go through to let go of a hot potato, unless, that's what you think about. So it is really, really important that you know what you have and what you not have through self-observation. Now, this was a negative, if you will, a negative example with the hot potato, but now we're talking about the positive. The same applies in the positive way. If you have gathered wisdom, that is what you can share. But if you just read about things, meaning you have gathered information which are in your head, you cannot give anything because you are not possessing the knowledge behind this information. So when do information become knowledge? Do you know? What is the magic happening there?
When you implement it.
Yes, exactly. Easy. When you live them, you have to live them. And then you have experienced them. And then you have gained knowledge. And from knowledge, paired with love, comes wisdom. Yeah? So, you cannot give anything if you have not lived it. Hmm? And this is really, really important information that you now have to process and live it, and then you will see, am I right or not? Right. So, what you learn needs to be experienced. And that means also in your own life, not only in the lives of your clients. Because a client's coming to you because you have something that you can give. Yeah? And that's not information. That is different to a mathematics professor. He doesn't, I mean, he's probably a good mathematics professor if he lives his math, but he can still give the information to students without living them. Yeah. We cannot do that. If we are working with people, we are giving who we are. Yeah? That is not a theory. There is not the theory about orders of love. They can read a book. They don't need you for that. Yeah. But you are giving it. You have digested it, and you have filtered it through your own system, and that became your knowledge or your wisdom. If you add love, and that is now what the clients want. That's what they want. Yeah. So personal development is at the very core of our work. Yeah. And it never ends. That's the good thing. And the good thing is you're attracting different people over different stages in your development. So that was the first part. You can only give what you have. So first you have to get this knowledge and this wisdom. Yeah. You can only see what you know. So what do I mean with that? That is kind of the psychology, or your mind is seeing, not your eyes. Your mind can only process what the mind is expecting. So, like, there is a saying, I don't know whether it's true, but it's just an example, that when Columbus reached the shores of America, the native Indians couldn't see the ship until it was right in front of them because they had never seen a ship like this coming over the horizon, so they had no idea what that was, and they literally didn't see it. So this is just a metaphor or a good visual to convey that we are literally not seeing what we have no concept of. It will be hidden for us. Now, in a family constellation, when you are observing, you can only see. When you observe, you can only see what you have already, what you know can be there, right? So this kind of knowledge is not only for your personal development that you be able to give, but it's also able to see. That enables you to see. So information made through experience into knowledge and adding love into wisdom is what you can give, and also how you can observe and perceive more subtle movements in other people, or in the souls, or in representatives, or in your client. And you can only find what was previously in your possession. I'm always thinking of this find love. The thing is, how do you find love if you have never had love as such? Or how do or when you're looking for your keys, you need to find your key. Yeah, well, it's your key, of course, so you had it in your possession, so you can find it, right? This is important to know, that we really need what we gain, and what we are looking for is something that you already have. So if you if you find your true self, let's put it that way, yeah, that only means that you know you have your own true self already. You just have lost it somewhere along the line. Yeah, it is not something you need to create. It's not something that is not available for you. It is always there. Yeah? And that's the good news. You just need to be aware that when you think you need to find something, that you might or very surely already have it in your possession. The only thing that happens is you are not aware of it. Yeah? You are aware of the loss. But the loss means you have it in your possession or you had it in your possession. That means it comes back to you. Yeah, because it's yours, whatever you're looking for. So these are the 3 principles that I would like you to embrace when you're thinking about your personal development. The other one is you're never finished with your personal development. To start to do, for example, to facilitate family constellation, there is not a tipping point. Again, different to the mathematics professor. He is doing all his learning, all this information, he's writing his exams, and then he starts teaching. He's just a carrier of information, yeah, if you will. But no, not what we do. That's not what we do. This means we can start soon and then learn from it and learn from it and learn from it and then develop. Yeah. So I would like to ensure you don't need to wait. Of course, it's good to be certified first and then, gain your experience with the friendship circle. I don't want to skip that. That's important. Yeah. But already this is not a starting point. This is kind of a gliding or soothing, how can I say, incline, and not huge steps that you climb, right? It goes very gentle up, one step at a time, and you don't need to worry about the starting point or the end point. But you need a good foundation, of course. That's for sure, right? You remember, you can only give what you have. So the foundation is the knowledge. And of course, you gain already knowledge, not with only the information from this course, but also when you are participating in the workshops, because from your perspective now, with all the information that you have, and now you come on the workshops and you observe dynamics and you observe representatives, you see so much more because you know what you're looking for, right? So you can see so much more. And you gain through this experience that you have there, through this physical experience, you gain knowledge, right? So your information are becoming already knowledge. That doesn't mean that you yourself need to facilitate to gain knowledge that you have, like by participating in family constellation and of course in the practice workshop. That's all goes hand in hand. So, knowing yourself or self-realization is the way and the destiny. And that has nothing to do with family constellation, that spans over everything we do in life, right? And of course, this is not what I say, this is what all ancient teachings say. So what is yourself and what is self-realization? Any ideas? I would like to hear what you say. Anybody has ever thought about that? Okay, then you go, Karen.
I can't answer your question, Maya. What is myself and what is self-realization? But I agree that, there's another saying, which is above all else, know thyself. And so the more we know why we do things, how we feel, why we feel, and the more we allow ourselves to be interested in what motivates us and motivates our behaviors and thoughts and feelings, the more aware we are, like you say, and then the more we know what we're in possession of and what we can just navigate better, what we want to keep and what we don't want to keep. We're not running as blind. as far as self-realization goes, I know that's a biggie. That's a very big question, isn't it? Do we get there? It's ever incremental pathways, I'm guessing.
I think, thank you for that, Karen. That was lovely to hear from in your words. I think self-realization is also like not the steps, these huge steps to climb. It's also a very, very gentle incline. And we hardly know where we are at, right? On our path to self-realization. And when we go in module 4 and we talk about the frequencies of emotions, then you know you have a gauge to measure that, a better gauge that I give you. But yes, of course, that's a biggie for all of us. And it's all beyond words even. So if you want to conceptualize it and put it into words and confine it, if you will, then I like to use 4 questions. The first question is, who am I? Second is, where am I coming from? The third question is, where am I heading? And the fourth question is, and what I'm doing here. Yeah. And I like questions. There's another quote from Rainer Maria Rilke. I maybe have even a slide of that. I think I do. To worship your questions and don't look for the answers. There is much more in questions than in answers. Yeah, the questions are open. They are allowing everything to be and come. An answer is restrictive and narrows everything down. So if you have these 4 questions in your mind and they resonate with you, then you know what the path of self-realization is. To find, without finding, to go on the path to find the answers to these questions. Because when you think you have an answer to the question, you have already outlived it, if you will. You are really in it. You are it already. So you really don't need an answer to this question because you know it's knowingness. Right? So the questions are everything. Kerstin, what do you say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I had a time when Lucas was younger, and I kept on, every time I picked him up from school, I said to him, what was the most important question that you asked today?
Wonderful.
I always wanted to make sure that he asks questions, because I believe as well, in asking questions, you're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and they should always be allowed any time, and no one should ever laugh about any question.
Yeah, the questions are super important, and especially the questions you ask yourself.
Yeah,
that's it. Very good. So let's talk about ways to personal growth. Of course, keep participating in workshops even after you are trained and after you are certified and after you are facilitating. It's super important to keep up this broadening of perspective, right? Of course, as you might know or not know, I'm also offering supervision workshops. They are designed for the trainees when they're certified and they go their own way to go through difficult clients and constellations and recap everything and refresh everything. So to keep developing that. Continue reading uplifting literature, of course, right? Because we are never finished. We always continue with doing what we do. Go to other retreats for personal growth. I think it is such a precious time. If you find something that draws your attention, instead of, I'm just making something up, lying in the sun at a beach doing nothing all day and getting a sunburn, it is probably better to go in holidays in a retreat that is really broadening your perspective as well, and is helping you more to find answers of the 4 important questions. I also invite you to think about, if you want a daily routine, if you don't have it yet, a meditation, yoga, tai chi, whatever it is, chanting, to stay connected with the field, because this is how you do it, grounded on the earth and centered in the truth. Yeah. every activity that takes you away from the busy mind and from an aching heart, where you can be more yourself and at peace, if you will. Hmm? And then make good lifestyle choices. That is something I really want to talk about because I have experienced such a big difference in my life and in life of others. And I think that is so important that I really want to talk to you about that. First of all, alcohol. So everybody drinks a glass of wine, a bottle of beer here and there. Some drink regularly. Lots of people come home and to relax they need alcohol. Yeah, that's just kind of a routine, and I don't know how you feel. It was certainly in my life like this. Everybody did it, so you'd never ever question. I never ever questioned it until I went to a yoga teacher training. That was 10 years ago. And then, of course, there was no alcohol. And then I thought, oh my gosh, and I was so relaxed the whole time when I was there. And I thought, no alcohol, no, there was nothing to look forward to in the evening because you were doing uplifting things day and night, you know. And then I thought, oh my gosh, this is so important. And also the freshness that you gain in your head and everything. So I decided not to drink alcohol anymore. I haven't since then, and I'm not missing anything. Absolutely nothing, right? And I feel like my work has drastically improved since I ditched alcohol. Yeah. So I invite you to think about it. I don't want you to believe or commit or dismiss or anything. It is all suggestions. How you are going about alcohol? When do you think you need it? What if you wouldn't instead would sit down and meditate, for example? When you think you need it, I just want you to think about that. Not now, just probably in the wake of next week. So you are observing your own relationship to alcohol and why would you even need it? Yeah? And what you think it does for you and what it really does for you. Hmm? Then we have drugs, the same topic. Of course, I'm thinking of mind-altering drugs here. That's exactly the same topic. I just want to add that some think that there are spiritual drugs. Drugs that are natural, like ayahuasca or mushrooms or whatnot, yeah, or some certain teas that are enhancing your self-realization. My absolute convincement, is that right? No, conviction.
Conviction.
Yeah, thank you. So my absolute conviction is that that is not true. Nothing, the mind is not in charge of the spiritual journey. So if the mind is quiet, that is who you are. And every ancient teaching, every yoga tradition tells you that. And you can experience that in 3 seconds when you sit down and take some deep breath and to completely relax, right? When the mind is not active, there is total peace, right? When you take a drug to alter your mind, the mind is very active. It's just altered, right? And this is why I am absolutely convinced that regardless what indigenous people say or feel, that's not our culture. For us, drugs will not give us an excuse to do nothing else for self-realization. That's what I want to say. It is still a path to take, yeah, and a path where you shed away mind activities. In family constellation, I'm often asked, yeah, how do you do that? You are not present. What does that mean? You are not present. You know, how does this work? I'm always there. I'm thinking. I'm doing. And I can only say, you are thinking and doing probably to the second that you go and connect with the field. But for the time you are connected with the field, there is no thinking. It's not. There is no thinking. You might think again in between, and then you are connecting to the field. But while you are connected, and you know that as a representative, while you are connected to the field, there is no thinking. Yeah, and that's exactly the state that you also want to be in self-realization. And if you and that is also a state where you need nothing. You need no drugs. You need no alcohol. You need no people, no special people around you or anything, right? I'm not talking about that is all the time like this. I'm not. That's not possible. It's just when you work or when you do your routine or whatever you are, committed to do, to stay more and more and more moments in this beautiful state of self-realization of no mind, as better it is for your personal development and for your work. And once you know how that feels and you love it, some people get that when they do yoga practice. Just, the right yoga practice brings you completely in the zone, or bliss, some people say, or whatever words you have for that. That's the same state that you are facilitating in, right? So there's only one state of no mind. I don't think that I don't think there are levels of no mind. There's just no mind, and that is the very desirable level to be in. And I highly recommend that if you haven't done so yet, that you follow this path and see what it does for you. Smoking, don't know. Anybody smokes of you? Nowadays, not many people smoke. I was a heavy smoker when I was younger, but that's a while ago. Same thing as with the drugs and alcohol. It's just conveying a need. Yeah, it's something you need, and then you have to ask yourself, why would I need that? Right? What's the lack behind it? What hole do I fill up with this? Yeah, that's all part of self-realization. Food is of course my favorite topic. I could go on and on and on. I'm also teaching plant-based nutrition, by the way. Food choices are super important and the easiest to do. The easiest to do. It is so easy to cook a different meal today than yesterday, or go shopping, different food. Yes, Kerstin.
What did you say? What are you teaching as well in the food line?
Plant-based nutrition.
Thank you.
Plant-based nutrition. So, what is in food? What is the choice? So first of all, of course, healthy food, right? What is healthy food? Healthy food is fresh food. Fresh food. It's not comes in a package, right? It does not come with a label. That's healthy food. That's as easy as that. Then, food is healthy when you can digest it properly. And everybody's different. Yeah, and this is why in Ayurveda, for example, there are different body types and they have different food because they have a different digestive system. That's also something, right? So this is all needs to be self-experienced and not just eating what others eat or eating what you always eat. Find out through self-observation what is good food for you, right? And then food is there to nourish, not to fill another hole. That's the other biggie. So emotional eating is obviously not food intake. It is to fill in another hole or another emotion. Or the opposite, not eating enough, right? That's all the same. So there's a lot going on with food, and I would like you to also think about that in the upcoming week. What are your food choices? Yeah. Just what are your food choices? Why you eat that? And do you think it's good for you? There is a very, very easy way to find out if a food is good for you. It's from kinesiology. Kinesiology. I have some words, it's just not coming through my mouth. Muscle testing. So, You hold whatever food. I don't have anything here. Let me grab my pen. You hold the pen in front of your chest. That's this food here, whatever it is, in a supermarket. Yeah? Let's say you have never eaten a specific vegetable. I just saw today a mixture from broccoli and cauliflower. Broccoli flour or something. I don't think I ever had that. So I grabbed one. So if you don't know if that's good food for you, you put it in front of your chest. And you stand upright and you relax your other hand. You can close your eyes if you wanted to. And then you will wait for a movement. And the movement will be either slightly forward swaying or slightly backward. Yeah? And the slightly forward movement is a yes. And the slightly backward is a no. Right? Some people can't eat shadow shadow vegetables like tomatoes or potatoes or something like this, yeah? How do you know you can eat? Yep, do this, just test it, yeah? There are other muscle test methods to test food, but that is one that's very easy to do even when you're in the supermarket, right? And you get used to it. And you can test out, and I guarantee you, every time you grab a packaged food and do that, after a little while and you're a bit experienced, you go backwards. There is basically no packaged food that your body acknowledges as nourishing food. So cooking is essential. And because we are all busy girls, we don't want, it's not like before where we're standing in the kitchen all day cooking for the whole family. No, we have other things to do. What are we doing? We eat simple meals. Simple, nourishing, fresh meals. There is this wonderful guy, I forgot his name, I saw him on YouTube years ago, that completely put me on a different perspective to food preparation. I love to cook. He said he's eating half a cauliflower in the evening. Yeah. He puts half a cauliflower in a pan with a little bit of water, a lid on, steam it for 10 minutes, and then he eats it. Isn't that fantastic? It's that easy. And it's delicious. It's to nourish you, you know. It doesn't need to satisfy other needs. And it's very quick and very healthy, right? So, just for me, that was so eye-opening that I do that quite often nowadays. No sauce, nothing else. It's just that. It's just or leek or whatever you have, any nice vegetable. It's so easy. So doesn't need to be complicated. Of course, I'm promoting plant-based food. Why? Many reasons. But just to give you one spiritual reason. The suffering animals endure nowadays through being raised for food. If you don't know about them, you have to look the documentaries. That is absolutely shocking. Let alone the hormones they pump into them. Now they want to mRNA every stock in the world. Imagine that. Yeah. Altering the DNA, and then imagine they get to slaughter and they are horrified to die after all of the suffering. And all of that is in the meat you eat. So everything. The suffering, the aggression of the ones who are killing, the chemical, everything is in the food you eat. Yeah. Just think about that. Yeah. Even if it's wildlife, it is not really healthy because it's got animal proteins. Animal proteins are known to be undigestible to people because they are their proteins, not our proteins. We do our own proteins. If you don't know it, chemistry or biochemistry, proteins are not in nature, amino acids are in nature. And we are producing the protein by having amino acids. And the plants are full of that. However, the animal is the middleman, eats the plants, the amino acids, builds its own protein, and then we eat their protein that our body hasn't made. So that's just, from there, you know already that cannot be good. And of course it's not good. There's a China study done in the 80s, 10 years, over 500,000 people, part of the study. And it turned out that animal products are on proteins are on so many levels detrimental to the human health. Yeah. Do you know we are meant to live 150 years naturally, 130 to 150? That's in all ancient scriptures. It's right there in front of our eyes. We are lucky if we are becoming 80 without Alzheimer's. Yeah? Why? Half the time. Why? What is shortening our lifespan by 50% and not even keeping us healthy after the age of 40? Right? It's the food we eat. Yeah? Just look at the normal diet that became normal over the last maybe not 500, 400 years. And you know why this has all decreased. So food choices are important. And I don't want to tell you what to eat, obviously. That's your decision. But I want you to look into it. What you eat, where is it coming from? How is it raised? Yeah? Think of the emotions that are, if it's an animal, that are inevitably part of their upbringing and their slaughter and all of this. And then you know what you want, yeah, and what is good for you. And do the test. Of course, do the test, right? Put a piece of bacon in front of your chest, and after that an apple, yeah? And just see the difference, how that feels. It's really easy. You can test that all out. And if you feel like because in Ayurveda it says in Ayurveda there's no meat, but there are some proteins in forms of eggs, animal proteins in form of eggs or some milk-derived products. Not many, not this big cheese and cream and butter every day, but they have some fresh cheese they do from milk or yogurt, fermented milk. Yeah. But only for certain people who have the dosha to digest it, because it's really hard to digest. People are born, humans are born, babies are born with a natural, if you will, allergic against cow's milk. That they can't drink it. Yeah, the Asian couldn't drink any cow's milk until they have been drip fed with this from the West, right? So that's all. Brainwashing to think that that's our food. 500 years ago, we ate potatoes, and we were fine too. So think of your food choices. Where's it coming from? Why am I doing that? And what I would like to change. That just test it out and see what you would like to change. If you change your food intake, you change your whole body, mind, and emotional body, spiritual body. Everything is changing because everything is built out of the food you eat. Yeah. Your aura everything will change. Food is the most important of all lifestyle choices, and it's the easiest. Nobody can tell you what to eat. It's your choice. It's truly your choice. Kerstin.
Yeah, well, it's the saying goes, you are what you eat.
Totally. You are what you eat. Totally. On all levels, not only the physical levels, also emotionally and spiritual. Yeah. So, and it's never too late. You can change your food choices, and after a few years, your body has completely forgotten about what was before because it renews so fast. Yeah. Then we have, we talked about the daily routine. So, yeah, it does. If you find your mind is very active, then it definitely helps. If you find a daily routine that brings you out of this mind activities. Who has a daily routine of you? Janet, what are you doing?
So I'm a full-time caregiver and I'm off 2 days a week. But I have a routine. I'm a live-in caregiver, so I live with my client 4 days a week. So at first, when I started my job 4 months ago, I was like, how am I going to adapt with this change? Taking care of her 24 hours. So she has Parkinson's and dementia. So I build a routine for myself in the morning. And she gets up at 9 in the morning. I get her up at 9. She was used to sleeping all day. So I get up at 5 in the morning and I go run. Like I go run, I get my 30-minute jog in, and then I have that gap, that 30-minute gap to exercise. And then I have 30 minutes later when I get back, I meditate. I make sure I stretch. I do either yoga, meditate, turn on a YouTube video. And then after that, I open up a video and I journal. I journal away for about 15 minutes. And then the rest of the day just flows with her routine. And then I unwind in the afternoon, like in the evening time. I unwind and I just reflect on the day. So it's a constant thing. And even when I'm at home, I have a routine. Like I don't stop. Like I've been going to the gym, and then I have a constant, like my health too. I've been really good about like my water intake every single day. And yeah, so it's like a constant thing. Like I worked so hard to build this routine, so it's now like if I don't do it, I'm like, I forgot, like I'm forgetting to do something today, you know?
And how does that feel
So
if you
it's
forget
something
to do
that
it?
I feel guilty. Like
Uh-huh.
I feel like I didn't complete everything. Like it just doesn't feel okay.
Mhm.
And since my routine, like since I switched my whole health around and I've included more personal development, I've been seeing tremendous changes. Like I'm down about 15 pounds already, and um, just overall, like emotionally, um, there's a lot of soul healing happening around my whole, my body and everything.
Wonderful.
So
Thank you
yeah.
for sharing. Yeah. Wonderful. Oh, that sounds so lovely. Anybody else wants to share daily routine? Did you raise your hand, Kirsty? Yeah. you did.
Yeah, I I have started. I have been reading quite a bit about family constellation, and so I have started to actually get up in the morning, and then once everyone is gone, I go out onto my deck, and I look into the sounds, and I look in the sky, and I envision all my ancestors there, and then I just say thank you,
Oh,
and that
wow.
and that and that's actually really I'm really not good in routine, but that has become something that I really look forward to either ask for strength or I say my thank you or sort of yeah, just what my feeling is. I might have a hard day or I have something um, to juggle with, or my thank yous that I've done something really well or yeah, guidance, whatever it is. So
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
that's actually really quite interesting because I look in the sky and I see all these people there. It's
How long does it take
and
your routine?
uh, it depends. Sometimes I'm there for maybe 5 minutes. Sometimes I stay there longer. But it's quite. I find it really for me. This is really quite fascinating.
That's wonderful. So we have done it with a quite a strong and long daily routine, and you have found a way to have a really short but really enlightening routine. So that's a beautiful example that anything is possible. It just anything is a routine. If you're looking forward to it and you feel you miss something out when you don't do it, then you're certainly on the right track. So yay! Anybody else want to share?
Can
Yes,
I
Janet,
can I say something?
of course.
I've also caught myself when I don't have a routine. For example, I start falling into bad habits.
Mhm.
If I miss like 2 days out of my routine, say I snack on something and it's not healthy and I know it's not healthy. I want it again and then again and then again. And I fall out of track. So I feel like mentally wise as well, I start getting depressed and
Mhm.
it just doesn't go well. So I noticed that it's hard to get on a routine, but it's doable. And once you do it constantly, if you give yourself 7 days or more to repeat it, even you don't even have to do it like, be hard on yourself, but if you just train the mind, you will easily adapt to it. And so when you fail 1 day or 2 days, you just jump back on it. Like it's easier. And
Ah,
for
yeah.
me, it's been a 3-month routine constantly on the go, 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 that I'm so used to it now.
Mhm.
And
Very
so
good.
that comes
Mhm.
from that like what I'm explaining too is when you fall out of your routine, like for example me, like, and I fall out of my diet, I start eating junk food and I start emotional eating, and I'm just eating just to feel happy for my emotions. And so that's when I start gaining weight and I start being depressed and it goes bad.
That's a cycle, eh? Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. So, right. So we had some lovely examples for routines. I want to add, and then I move on from that. Um, so when you said you feel guilty if you don't do a routine, Janet, that's exactly problematic when you have a daily. So that's kind of the dark side of a daily routine, yeah. So just relax. If you have a daily routine and you don't do you are okay too, right? It is, that is not, that doesn't define you.
Right.
And as more as you are relaxed and less resistance you have against your so-called failure, as less it will happen. Yeah, this is kind of a natural law. Mm? What you resist is attracted, so to speak. Mm? So relax about that. Have a daily routine. What does this mean? You have a daily routine and then you have one day without a routine. So good. So what? It's still a daily
Right.
routine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still a daily routine even if you don't do it. You know? Okay. Cool. All right. So, yeah, we talked about all of this: meditation, chanting, yoga, and so on. Exercise. Janet has just done it. That's also a lovely lifestyle choice, as long as it doesn't stress you. It should be joyful. It should be gentle in a way that you really think you gain something. It should never be stressful, because when the body is in stress, it really locks up. Yeah, and I think a lot of people do the mistake to be motivated. Now I do a lot of exercises, and then it lasts probably 2 weeks, maybe 4, of course, and then, it's too much, too stressful for the body. You have to rest, and then they feel guilty, and then they resist, and then they never pick it up again, or probably 2 years later. Much better is to do something you love moderately and just make sure you get it in your day. A daily routine is walking a dog. That's my daily routine. I walk my dogs. I love it. That's the time in the bush, and we spend together, and I hear the birds singing, and I smell the bush smell, and that's it. And that's all I need. I'm in bliss. Yeah. So whatever it is, do it with joy. And when you don't do it, you have a rainy day, still a daily routine. Yeah? Okay. Okay. Reading is also, I think you all like to read. I know it's uncommon. My son doesn't read anymore. It's this generation is just books. I don't know. It's like a vinyl record. Uh, I don't know. For me, this is like what? But kind of books is not a book. Anyhow, you can read electronically, of course, but reading is, I think, uplifting literature is really, really great. To also to as a lifestyle choice. Not only like topic literature about family constellation, just reading something that you enjoy. Connecting with nature, that's my choice. Is also a great lifestyle choice, right? To do as much as you can in nature. And I know when you're in Guadalupe, that's probably not easy. Is it green there? Do you have parks?
Yeah, we do.
You do?
We do.
Do you
We
feel
do.
like
Because
it's nature or too many people in there?
There's one little park near my house, so I don't live in the town center. So it's not outskirts. It's still within Kuala Lumpur, but there is a little park. So there's some trees. So the huge one is always crowded. So you don't feel like in the nature.
Yeah, I
But
was
this one is a
wondering
bit
about
tough.
that.
Yeah.
About the little one, yeah. Yeah. Honestly, there are a couple of tricks to bring nature into your little town apartment. I'm not even little, but into your city apartment. For example, a aquascape, you know, a lovely fish tank with lovely plants. That's nature. You're observing a piece of nature. It's so soothing. Yeah, and you can look after it. It's really, really great. And you don't need the permission of your landlord if you don't own your apartment to have this kind of pets. Yeah, so that's one thing. Of course, other plants or putting up a mural on a white wall that is, you know, nature, and put a lovely cushion in front that you can sit on and get some sound of nature in your earpod, or how they call.
I'll go with the sound. I do have some plants last time, but then they didn't grow well, and you get me. After a while, I gave up.
Yeah, go for the mural then. Go for the mural and the sound of nature in your headphones. So there are ways to connect with nature even if you have no access, easy access like we have in New Zealand, to actual nature. Animals are great helpers on every level, spiritually, emotionally, physically. So just think about what is your connection to animals. If the only animals you ever think of is the ones you're eating, then I would suggest you changing something. Yeah, because they are great companions, great wise teachers, and in need of our compassion more than ever. So you could, for example, if you cannot have an animal or your lifestyle doesn't allow it, fish tank again, or birds, but you can ask a neighbor who has a dog to walk the dog, you know, or help them with walking the dog, or look after the cats of your neighbor, or you could do that. Get involved in any way, shape, or form with animals, because they have a lot to give and to teach, and it brings us into a better heart space that is very beneficial for our work. Friends? What do you think? Are friends lifestyle choices? They are, right? So once you are on your way of personal development, it is absolutely inevitably that some people are left behind. And that is good so. That is a sign for you that you are actually developing yourself. Right? And that is, don't shed a tear. Right? It's really not worth it. There will be others, they come in your life, and they will resonate with you on another level. You just need to make this space. So allow this to happen. Don't cling on to old habits or habitual friends or acquaintances. If you are on your path, you are on your path alone. Everybody is. But on your path that you go alone, there will always be some that come with you for a while. Yeah, there's like you go on a path, and then there are several cross sections, and then will come some people and walk with you, and they will leave again at the next cross section, and then the others will come and leave again. This is how I picture it, but you go straight ahead. You go on your path. And allow this to happen. It is very healthy to just go with the flow and let that happen. And know it's inevitably, and it's very necessary, and it's all for your good. All right. So, before we go to unsolved emotions, do you want to discuss or ask something about what we just discussed, lifestyle choices? Or add something? Maybe I forgot something? Okay, we go ahead then. Unsolved emotions. Who has heard of the dark night of the soul? You have. Kirsten has. Good. Would you like to, Karen, would you like to explain it? Well, how you have heard about it, or what you think about it, or what you think it is?
Well, I actually two answers come to mind when I think about it. So the first one, it's not, for me, the dark night of the soul actually isn't necessarily when we go through difficult times, which is what a lot of people may think, that is their interpretation of it. For me, the dark night of the soul is when we start to look at our own shadow side, and we start to look at our own self, and we start to, I guess, discover the parts of ourselves that we didn't want to see and we kept hidden. And sometimes that can be quite painful. And for me, that's a dark night of the soul.
Very good. I agree. That's how I would perceive it as well. Kirsten, what would you say? Anything different or adding?
No, pretty much, yeah, that when we are all pretty much good souls, but there is this, yeah, I would say evilness coming through at some point, for whatever reason, and yeah, that's quite a shocker sometimes,
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it can be. So bear that in mind. After the break, we will talk about that in detail. I just say so much that it is actually a term that is derived in the medieval times in Germany from, oh gosh, I forgot his name, a monk. He's very famous. Anyhow, it will come to me. And he has written about and created in German this term "dark night of the soul," and it has a very specific. It is marking a very specific time in a spiritual path in its original meaning. Yeah. But we will talk about that. We will also talk about blind spots or blind holes. I'm sure you have heard about that in one way or the other as well. There are so many terms about that. Shadow aspects, something with black holes, black spots or something. So there's lots of terms, but they all mean the same. We will talk about that. We will talk about, well, we talk all the time about family entanglements. I just say, of course, they are unsolved emotions too, right? We will talk about conditioned belief systems as well. When we talk about unsolved emotions, there's a lot of unsolved emotions coming from conditioned beliefs. Then there is such a thing as trapped emotions. Have you heard about that? Yeah. So trapped emotions is something that we need to look at, and we have to untrap on a regular basis. And then there is my favorite, lakatosis. I'm not sure if you ever heard of that. No, I would wonder. It's not actually an English term. It's English Latin. It's a Latinish or something. And it comes from Ramtha's School of Enlightenment. That's where I have it from. And he had a course about lakatosis. I really liked it, or a speech or a talk. It is, yeah, it is what it is. You know what a lack is? Lacking something, lack. And osis is a disease, right? Now you get the idea what lakatosis is. Okay, let's start with trapped emotions. So if this is a new concept to you, I would like you just to listen to it, and you don't need to believe it. I'm not creating any belief systems here, new belief systems or establishing old ones, but I also don't want you to dismiss it, right? Just be open. These are all concepts. Whatever we talk about can only be concepts. The truth is always something we cannot talk about. It's always behind a concept. And when we talk about concepts, I'm talking about these concepts that I know they are beneficial for self-developing and for our work. Otherwise, I wouldn't talk about them, right? So just bear with me. So there is such a thing as an emotional body. We have a physical body, we have an emotional body that is kind of a little bit around us, and then we have the spiritual body that is a little bit further away from us. Some people say see that as auras. In ancient scriptures, they are called chests, or different word for the same thing. The emotional body is where we are storing our emotions. The emotions are stored. Remember? You think about something sad, and you can be down in a minute, in a second even. That doesn't take much, yeah? It's much harder to think of something nice and be uplifted, but it's definitely worked very well to drag you down. You just need to think of memory where something really bad happened and you're either angry or you're sad or whatever. Why? Why? Well, just a thought. Because it's a trapped emotion in your emotional body and you are just accessing it through a thought. Yeah? So it's not an emotion you are creating this moment. It's emotion that's with you all the time. It's an emotion you have not let go. Right? And why have you not let it go? Because you have not really been aware of it and possessed it. Potato. You have not grabbed it. Yeah? And looked at it and say, oh, that's a potato. Oh, that's an emotion. And then that's a reflex to let it go. If it's too hot, if it's too painful, if it's what. So all these emotions that are trapped, that are not really being looked at, they are forming the emotional body. Or some say also the pain body. It's a term from Eckhart Tolle. Do you know Eckhart Tolle? Right. So that's a term, which I really love, the pain body, because the emotional body is painful. It always brings pain, yeah. So, when we are in module, is it module 4 or 5? I think it's module 4. We will talk about that in one of the next modules. How to find out what emotion has what frequency, what is the emotion that you are triggered by, and what is the emotion that you have to look at closer in order to let it go. But here I just want to say there are very easy methods to let trapped emotions go instantaneously. And it is very important because then the emotional body cannot grow, it will shrink. And that's what you want, because it releases pain, it lessens pain, and as less pain you are carrying, as more self-realization you have. And as better, you can work with others. So this is really important, that we are working through our trapped emotions. Traumas, yeah, you go.
When you say the emotional body is always painful, so but we do have beautiful emotions as well. So because you just said before, we only have pain in the emotional body, but I can't quite agree with it at the moment. You know what we have only been talking about the negative ones, but we do have positive ones as well. We must have positive ones, or not?
So what we call positive emotions is what I call love.
Okay.
And love is not an emotion, it's who we are.
Okay, good. Then it's clear.
So when we have a positive emotion, and it's not lust or what I not call positive, that's actually painful. If it's a truly positive emotion like beauty, adoration of beauty, or compassion, or
maybe what about happiness?
Happiness, yeah, that's all love. If it's bliss, if it's happiness without a reason. If it's happiness without a reason.
Yeah.
If it's happiness with a reason, it comes with unhappiness when you don't have the reason.
Okay.
So therefore it's a negative emotion, because it can't come without the negative emotion.
Okay.
Yeah? So true happiness without a reason is love. True adoration of beauty or nature is love. If you adore beauty because it's been artificially created, then it is not love, because this adoration goes away when this object of beauty is not there anymore, or change. You know what I mean? So there's
Yes,
the other dark
yeah.
side, and
Yeah.
so it creates pain together.
Okay.
It
I
cannot
do
be
get it.
without pain. All right. So this
Yeah,
is
I
why
do get
emotion
it.
body is a pain body. Everything else is who you are, love.
Okay.
So emotions can be severe traumas, often childhood traumas. We all know the biggie one, the interrupted movement towards the mother or the father, but and other birth traumas. But we have also these little traumas that we gather on a daily basis. And even when you've been caught off guard, that is already creating an emotion, the emotion of shock. And it can be positive, by the way. I make another example. If somebody throws you a surprise birthday party, let's assume you never had one. You may became 50 without, you never even thought of it. And then a friend, unknown to you, organizes a surprise birthday party, and you think you go just to a very casual dinner with your friend to catch up, and you turn around the corner and there are 20 people yelling at you, "Happy birthday!" You're in shock. Yeah? Your guards are down. It's a shock. You think it's a good thing. It's not. It's a mini trauma because it's shock. There is shock in your body, this emotion of shock. Now you can release this, and we do release this very easily. Through breathing, through crying, through screaming. This is how you release shock. So in these instances, you release shock instantaneously. If you don't do that, for some reason, then it's trapped. And we trap that a lot. You can cross a street, or you want to cross the street, let's say in Kuala Lumpur, in a busy street, and you are in your head and you don't quite listen, and somebody is pulling your arm, said, "Don't!" Shock. Trapped. Yeah? And then you're too polite to scream or cry or whatnot, yeah? And then you say only to your savior, "Oh, thank you," without being able to release this emotion, then it's trapped. And all these little emotions that are mini traumas, when you are just caught off guard, they are in the emotional body. They are also causing pain. So there's an easy way to release them, and we will talk about that. The best thing is to release these emotions in your daily routine, whatever you do, from running, yoga, connecting with the ancestors, meditating, or walking the dogs, or going in a park. Whatever you do as a daily routine, that is where you clear your emotions. Or you do that every morning. If you create a new routine, you can do that every morning, every night. That only means that you are aware of all these situations over the day where you were off guard. Yeah? Where something has surprised you, startled you, or made you angry, somebody made you angry, or whatever, or you had a bad news, what you consider bad news, and that is kind of a shock because you wasn't expecting it. In your daily routine, now is the time to just get that out by pulling it up, looking at it, take a deep breath, and just release it. It's as easy as that. It just needs to be seen. Yeah? And then the intent to release is like a hot potato, just letting go. That's all there is to it. It's very easy to clear the emotional body from these mini traumas on a daily basis. A little bit more difficult is it if the trauma is older, of course. Yes, but we learned that in Module 4 how to go through the childhood traumas and past life traumas. for yourself and your clients. Because they are all trapped in your emotional body. Now, I would like you to ask why past life in my emotional body. Is my emotional body not bound to this body? No. The emotional body is bound to your soul. And you're carrying your emotional body with you on your soul journey. This is why there's a lot of stuff in there if you haven't worked on it. Also not in other lifetimes. So for now, trapped emotions are cleared easily within or during your daily routine. You just need to be aware of them, go through your day, think what has bothered me, what came up, what was not quite in harmony, and then just say, okay, that is okay. Now it's okay. Or you can scream, or you can shout, or it depends on where you are. You find the method of your choice how to release it. There is also a systematic approach to release trapped emotions, and that is, for example, through the emotion code. Do you have heard about it? Anyway, you can Google it. It's really good. It's old. I think the guy is Dr. Nelson or something like that. Not quite sure, but the emotion code will come up anyhow when you Google it. And it's just a way to, they have a very interesting table listing different emotions, and you can find them out with a pendulum or with a wand or something, or again muscle testing methods, and you can follow the step by step, and then you can release emotions also deeper and older emotions than just the ones that you have recently caught. That's a really good method. I like it. It's been around for a long time, and it's very easy, and you can do it with yourself. So that's one recommendation. Meditation is a very, very good way to release emotions. I mean, guided meditation, not the meditation where you are emptying your mind, but the meditation where you are looking into your emotional body and find that what has accumulated there. But of course, nothing is better than to avoid to trap new emotions, of course, right? Why would we go through all this if we can avoid to trap new emotions? And yes, we can. So what are we doing to avoid to trap new emotions? That's very easy, being more aware. Yeah, so you can't be caught off guard. There is this metaphor or this example from the Zen master who was going around when he had students. Students were sitting on the floor studying some literature, and he was going around with a stick, and then he was randomly hitting one student on the back. And the one who got hit on the back and said, ouch, what did he do? He wasn't aware. The one who were reacting by moving away or grabbing the stick, they were aware, right, during their studies. And this is how the Zen Meister found out who was worth keeping, who was capable of staying aware, and who wasn't. So who had to leave the monastery or the study. Yeah. And that is, if you think about this Zen Meister, that is exactly what you can do. This is how you avoid trapping new emotions. You are constantly more aware. Aware means not in your mind. The mind is making you unaware of what's going around you, right? So when, like these monk students, they are Zen students, they are studying in literature, studying a text, mind activity, yeah, mind activity. And if they were not aware what was going on around them, they got hit because they were only, their mind was active. But what we are training is that the mind can be active and we are aware of what's going on around us. And that's the training as well. Also, when you are on the path of self-development, more awareness and awakeness will be part of it, inevitably. And as more emotions you shed, as more aware will you be. So this is all goes hand in hand. That is like a system in enclosed system. Yeah. And this is how you avoid to trap new emotions. You are just not caught off guard. And of course, as more you go out of fear and into love, more and more, yeah, the least and the lesser and lesser and lesser situation in your life will induce fear, because anger is just a form of fear, really. So that will all be reduced and reduced and reduced, and to a point where there are no such thing as bad news, no such thing, because everything happens for a reason. You are centered. Nothing really bad can happen anyhow. So what can be a bad news? Everything is in this right place at the right time. This is kind of the state of beingness where you don't trap any more emotion. And then you don't need to clear them neither. Okay, conditioned belief systems. We have talked about that briefly. I want to repeat that. Conditioning happens from conception, even in the womb of the mother, to 7 years old. That's the latest. That is because the children or the unborn are in so-called theta state. They are highly suggestive states. So everything they soak up with the sponge, and they have no filter. They soak up sponge, but there is no filter to say it is good or bad. Do I want it? Do I not want it? They just soak it up. And this is how the child is conditioned to the environment it's born in, which is a survival instrument, of course, because the human race is very adaptable because of that, right? But it is not everything that we have soaked up as a sponge until we are 7 is what we actually want to keep when we are 47. And especially not when we are on the path of self-development. We actually don't want to keep most of it. Yeah. And now we need to know, how do we get out of it? So what we soak up is not only from our parents, it's from caretakers, from teachers, from family members, from church, the community. And nowadays you have to say it's from Disney, and it's from BlackRock and Vanguard with all their computer games that the children are playing under the age of 7 already, right? So this is all creating conditioned beliefs. In your work to self-development and to become a carrier of wisdom and to share it through the method of family constellation and others, you really have to shed all beliefs that you carry. It is really important that you are open to everything as it is and not filtered through your mind that has a conditioned belief, right? Because then you can't see what's behind. And I know you're all doing that, otherwise you wouldn't be on the course, no doubt about that. But it goes a lot deeper than you might think it is. Because we are not aware of our conditioned beliefs, we can only see the outcome. So we can only observe ourselves, how we react in certain situations, to know if we have a conditioned belief system or not. And that is the other part of self-observation. Yeah, like when you take something we take so many things for a fact, right? And in this journey of self realization, you are on a hunt for your reaction to whatever happens in your environment, if it's because of a belief system. Yeah. It is ultimately important that you find your own path. We are all individuals. We are all on an individual soul journey. We cannot be compared with anybody else. And that's the beauty. That's creation. Nobody is alike like the other, right? And when society and families, and they all want to find a common ground, like the family conscience, like a common ground, because they feel a bound, they feel a bond through this, yeah. but it does keep you in this narrow environment. Yeah, and it doesn't allow for self-realization and development. So you have to find your own path. That's really important. Not following anybody. Just for a while, and then you divert again. We have an exercise before the break. I would like you to find at least one belief system that you have not thought about before through discussing that with your exercise partner. Yeah? So we make a group of two. We make two groups of two. And then the goal is, we take 10 minutes because you're just two. And the goal is, let me just stop that sharing. And the goal is that you discuss with your partner and try to find out what is that your parents did or your community did or your church or anything that you, when you think about it really clearly, still integrate in your life. Let's see what happens. Okay. And there's no swapping or you just share. So you share what in every way, shape, or form you feel it's fit. Yeah. You can also comment. You can invite your partner to comment on it. What do you think? So this is, this is an interaction. How can I say, an exchange? An exchange that helps to find out what you have not found yet. So have our breakout rooms. Hang on, here we go. Yeah, I think that should work. I hope I don't see you again in a minute or two. Okay. Very good. Who wants to share?
Well, I can share, or I can start. I had the first thing that came up is that well, I think that's actually not so important. The second one was more, I think that comes up quite a bit now, that when I was really young, teenage girl, I wanted to be the first female chancellor of Germany. So, okay.
Well, Mrs.
So
Merkel has outrun you.
Yeah, I know. She was so much worse than I would have been, but never mind. My immediate the immediate reaction of my mom always was, no, Kirsten, that wouldn't go down very well because of your sense of fairness. So I at that point I remember that that was quite that it didn't throw me completely, but it put a lid on where I could go, what I could achieve, or what I wanted to achieve. Yeah. In hindsight, now I know that she's totally correct. Politics is such a dirty game, and I would have probably gone under like a ton of bricks because I really have such a huge sense of fairness. So I do understand it, but the fact is, it put a lid on of what I am able to achieve.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. And you haven't thought about that before?
Oh yes, it did come up at some points that that it comes back, you know.
And I think that is a very good example, Kerstin, because belief systems are not only negative. Belief systems can also be positive because a sense of fairness seems to be a positive trait.
Yeah, that's right. But it still is like it did put a lid on me for what I could actually even strive for it, you know?
Yeah. And also it probably doesn't, it probably set the path for you to not be able to be unfair?
Yeah, that's something I can't,
See,
I just
and this is why not. This is broaden your horizon. Why would you not experience to be unfair? You know, would make you more interesting. It would make your life more interesting. It would make you broaden your horizon. You know.
No.
So this is why. Yeah, it would. Of course, it would.
Yeah, but, yeah, okay.
So everything that we are taught before we are. I'm sure your mother said that all your life. So we are not more or less talking about until we are 7 because we don't remember that. We remember the incidents that when we are older. But I'm assuring you that she has said that to you before you were 7 as well. So it really becomes deeply embedded into your life, and that is what you're now tracking back. And now it would be very healing because the way you said, no, this is where I know it's conditioned. It is conditioned that you think being unfair is not good.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's very good exercise. So now I would like you to, whenever you have time in a quiet moment, maybe your morning routine when you are connecting with your ancestors, connect with an ancestor who was unfair.
Okay.
And ask him for exchange and support and guidance because you want to know how that is.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Who's next?
I can be the next. So my belief system, when I was young, my mom always told us money is hard to come by. So if we stop by some fancy shops, restaurants, she would just chase us. Oh, we quickly go away. These places are just not for us and things like that. So I shared with Karen. So I thought these beliefs only impacted the financial aspect of my life. That we will have to work hard to get money and things like that. But I think this belief system has also impacted the other aspect of my life. For example, the relationship. So Karen has pointed it out. Because if my mom told us, my sister and I, that we are not worthy for certain things, probably that also suggests that we are not worthy for love. So that could be the reason why I keep seeing the same pattern in my relationship.
Very good. That goes so much deeper, isn't it? And you're totally right. And even if it comes to you as a surprise, but money is also nothing less than love. Money is not dirty. Money is not anything else than what creation is. It's love, and it wants to flow, and it wants to be acknowledged, and it wants to be loved, and it wants to be adored, and same as with people, same as with animals, same as with plants. They grow fantastic when you say thank you to your plant.
I never want to look at it that way. I mean, so because it's very straightforward. We normally it's financial, and then we thought it's financial.
Yeah. So what would your exercise be, Courtney, to overcome this belief system?
Can I borrow Kirstein's routine? I
sure.
think
Why
want
not?
to connect with my ancestor. I think that is a great one. I'll try, and then I'll definitely let all of you know.
And then ask the one ancestor who had money in abundance. Yeah.
My ancestor. Choose someone who is abundant in money.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I can get someone.
You don't need to know them. You just ask them when you're connecting with your ancestors. Ask the ones that had a really good relationship to money and that have abundance and love for money to give you their support.
I always have a feeling, Maya. I just don't know why. I always have a feeling my ancestor is very tough. I mean, they have a tough life.
All ancestors 240?
I don't know. I mean,
no, I don't think so. That's another belief system.
My grandma, my mom's mother, she came from China. So I was the second generation in Malaysia. She what?
In China were
she had
very rich families before the revolution.
not
Before
many.
yeah, we're talking about.
Not many.
Oh,
Only for
yeah.
the royal
Yes,
family.
yes,
We are
yes.
not.
Yes,
We are
yes.
not royal family.
You don't know. You don't know where you are from.
We know because if you are royal family, you carry certain surname. My surname is Yap. We are not royal family.
Yes, it's not royal.
I'm pretty sure.
Remember
So
that a family member belong to your system through action as well, not only through blood. Remember
okay,
the first order of love.
I'll try to find someone.
You don't need to
who's
try.
abundant in money.
You don't need to try,
Ask for it.
Connie. You just say when you connect with your ancestors, the one who has a good relationship with money shall come forth and give you his blessings and support.
I'll do that.
That's
And I'll let you all of you know
very
how's it
good.
going.
And then there are other little things you can do because money is a really good thing. You can really look at the money, cash in this case will work better. Look at the money that you have, feel it in the hands, give it a kiss, whatever, how you express gratitude to it, and that you really worship it for what it does for you, for the creation. And then when you have really give it all your love, this whatever currency you have, this money, then you give it to somebody that needs money. So you don't keep it, because money wants to flow. That is an important part. Every energy, love, everything wants to flow. Nothing wants to be hold on to. Right? We're not talking about Dagobert Duck here, hoarding all the money in a huge tower, right? We are talking about attracting money and letting it flow and through what we do and how we spend it and So that's another exercise. Very good. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Who is next? Janet, do you have something to share? No, you don't need to. Don't feel pressure.
No.
No. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And Karen?
Well, actually, as you were speaking, Maya, when you were talking to Kirsten, I came up with another one that I hadn't had before.
Ooh, that's probably a better one.
Yeah, and what it was that when I was a young child, my nana was very much about being a lady. And I think I was actually 7, and I'd thought long and hard about it. And I took my nana for a walk one day and untook my hand from her hand and told her I had something really important I had to tell her, but she's not going to like it. And long story short was I told my nana that I'd thought long and hard about it, and I decided that I wasn't going to be a lady and that I would never be a lady ever in my life. And she asked me why, and I gave her my reasons after seeing what being a lady meant, and it looked like a lot of work and not a lot of fun and didn't suit my personality. But actually, as you were talking to Kirsten, what it brought up, so I have actually lived that belief. Like I've lived a belief where I actually have been really not a lady. And it's still to this day. Someone called me a lady the other day and I was like, no, I'm not a lady. Like, don't call me a lady. And I've actually really taken that on quite hard. And it's worked for me and I've liked it. But I've identified so strongly with not being a lady. And I actually think I would like to identify with being a lady.
Good.
And I would like to see what that's about. And that was when you were saying to Kirsten, maybe it could be unfair. And I was like, oh, maybe I could be a lady. Like, maybe I could just put that one on.
So, Karen, tell me, what would you do to be a lady? Right now or tomorrow, or what would that be?
Well, this is very easy because I had Nana showing me, so I can just connect straight up to my Nana anyway. and just actually just give myself permission and give myself permission to soften in. But actually I too liked what the idea of connecting in with an ancestor and asking, and I was like, well, good, I'll just call my Nana in and let her guide me and let her allow me to be open for more opportunities, like when somebody says yes lady or you know, anything like that, without me bristling up and taking almost not possibly offense, you know, like, no, don't put me in that box. Maybe.
So what did your
soften into
Nana
it.
say? What makes a lady a lady?
Oh, there were just lots of rules, lots of like, we do this
Oh.
because we're a lady, and you know, around manners, around arranging flowers, around running around doing things for people at church when it's really boring and I wanted to go for a walk in the park and we're still doing something else for someone else. And there was a lot of etiquette and a lot of polite manners and a lot of small talk, a lot of not really saying what you meant.
That's a good one. Take that. Take that. Because I know you are honest and you always, you know, want to talk. So take that as an exercise and say, okay, today I'm a lady and I am not saying to this person what I think. I'd say something polite.
Yes, that is a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I will try that one. Thank you.
And just smile inwardly about your efforts. It's nice. Very good.
Thank you.
Beside having your Nana with you, of course, and guiding you to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's lovely. And also you will have a new heart connection with your Nana, because this resistance telling her that you're not going to follow her, you know, will have made you distant from her on an emotional level.
Maybe to a degree. She was one of my favorite people.
Yeah. So you will open that channel up. If you take now her wisdom, because she said that for a reason. No? She said that for a reason, because she had wisdom and she had knowledge, she has experience. And for some reason in her life, it turned out it was beneficial to be a lady. Yeah? And that is her wisdom and her that she can pass on to you that you have denied so far. But now that you're opening up to this possibility, now this channel is open, now she can pour this wisdom with everything that is behind it into you. That's good. Great. Very good.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, that was lovely. Kirsten, you go.
Yes, sorry, I need to clarify. So I'm seeing my ancestors and I'm calling the one to come forward that has been unfair. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so what's the exercise in that one?
Okay. So think about, the exercise is first of all that you ask this ancestor to give him your blessing, give you his blessing and support by discovering how it is to be unfair.
Okay.
And then, I don't know how exactly you do that, but the next time when you think that's not fair, then you laugh at yourself and say, haha, that's great, it's unfair.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Now I got it. Thank you very much.
Then you kind of see the other side of the coin. And I would like you to have a really light heart when you do that. Nothing is more healing than laughing about yourself.
Okay, cool.
Not ashamed or like just enjoying this new weird thought of yourself and this new weird side of yourself that needs to be enjoyed.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm looking forward to what you say in a year or so. Okay, so we have our break now. It's 5 to 7, so I see you 5 after the hour.
Just making my bed.
Hey, what you say?
Just making my bed, scraping the sheets off the line and putting them on the bed.
Very good.
Nothing better than and clean smelling sheets.
Yeah, totally. Courtney, your video's off, eh? You know that. Do you? Okay, so let's proceed. Now we talk about the dark night of the soul and the importance of it. So everyone who is earnestly seeking the truth and self on any spiritual path is inevitably experiencing the so-called dark night of the soul. And yes, I agree, Karen, it has nothing to do with something bad happened to your life. Not at all. It is a period of utter spiritual desolation, disconnection and emptiness in which one feels separated from the divine, totally lost, hopeless, without meaning in life. That is, by definition, the dark night of the soul. And it is indeed one night where it's severe. So it's not a lengthy period of time. A lengthy period of time might lead towards the dark night of the soul, but it is in truth one night. Well, I have experienced it as one night. And that is also the division of it. This is where you are at the bottom rock. When you're on a spiritual path, first of all, everything seems to be light and uplifting, right? And you learn a lot and you shed emotions and you feel lighter, and it's just marvelous. And you think you know things, and you see new concepts, and you find new meaning in life. And then this goes down here. That's the meaning of the dark night of the soul. All of a sudden, that doesn't mean anything anymore. All of a sudden, that is not an achievement. It feels like emptiness. It feels like nothingness. It feels like it is nothing. I've achieved nothing. And that is what the dark night of the soul, it brings you to this utter spiritual desolation. And why I'm pointing this out is that I want to tell you or to warn you, this is going to happen, and this is a good thing. It is a turning point on every personal development towards self-realization. And without the dark night of the soul, I don't think there is a true what can I say, proceeding with it. Yeah, it has to be there. Because it comes in layers, and the first layer is on the mental and ego egocentric layer. You're looking for self-realization and personal development for your own personal gain. That is so. You need to be honest with yourself. Yeah, you want to have less unpleasant circumstances in your life, partners, friends. It's a little bit like what is this called? The law of attraction thing. It's on an ego level. You want that for yourself, but that's not what your soul wants, right? And when you realize that, that is when you are in utterly spiritual desolation, because nothing of what you have achieved means anything anymore. That is the point where the ego has its last hour, if you will, grip on you. And if you go through that, you come out stronger. The ego is small, much smaller than before, humble even. So go through that when it comes and know that it is exactly what you were waiting for. And don't jump out of your window in the third story when this is. Remember these words. This is exactly where you want to be to find true self-realization beyond ego mind. Not for your personal gain, but for your soul journey. Signs are, so you can realize sleeplessness, unusual sleeplessness. Not if you ever always sleep shallow, that's the different thing. Fear or even horror for no reason. Feels like a depression, questioning the meaning in life. Oh, that all makes no sense. Why am I studying family constellation? Nobody is worth saving. Things like that, you know. Nothing brings joy. So everything that brought you joy, even your fresh washed bed sheets that you are in, they don't bring joy all of a sudden, you know. And you have this feeling no one can help. There's absolutely nobody to turn to. And it's a collapse of values as well. Everything you have worshipped before doesn't mean anything anymore. Right? You might have even visitors in the night, out-of-body experiences, signs of one sort or the other, which all come to guide you through this phase. Yeah, so embrace them. And ask for help. Because it feels like you are alone, but there's always help. And who is there to be asked? Your higher self. Or the divine, if you will. Whatever, the source of love, whatever you call it, however you call it. God, if you want to call it. Ask for help. Say, I can't do this alone. I need somebody on my side. Please help me. And just by asking, it will already be there. After going through the dark night of the soul, you'll experience a change of perception. That's what most commonly what everybody says. That the colors look different. The objects in your room looking different. You'll experience a change of, you experience lightness in being. You feel lighter. You're just like treading lighter on earth. You have all of a sudden new goals and new motivations that you hadn't had before. And you feel this connection to the divine and a new sense of self. And that all happens because the ego became humble in this dark night of the soul. When you go through it. When the ego wins, you stay in depression. You go to the doctor and get pills. Sleeping pills or antidepressant pills. Yeah. Or you jump out of the window. That's when the ego wins. But if you go through it, then you have this new sense of self. And that's totally worth going through. 4. Okay, let's talk about blind spots. Every aspect in yourself that you have not looked at nor brought into light is called a spiritual or emotional blind spot, or a shadow aspect, or something hidden in the shadows. Now, why is this important? When you're working with a client and a similar issue comes up, you're unable to see it in your client. It's not there. You will not see it. Let's make an example, a very simple one. You have not solved your interrupted movement towards your mother fully. It's complicated. You need rebirthing like we all do, and you haven't really truly been there and gone through, because you sometimes need to do it several times. And then you have a client, and they have these problems that are, if you would have been going through the rebirthing process and connected with your strengths that come through this, you would have seen. Now they come and they would need a rebirthing, but you don't see it because you're the one who needs it. Yeah, and that's called a blind spot. And obviously, as more blind spots one has, as narrower is the frame they can work with others, right? So if you have little or no blind spot, you can work with everybody and help everybody. But as more and more shadow aspects or blind spots you have, as less and less you can help and work. So this is why these blind spots or shadow aspects have to be looked up and resolved. So the clearing of blind spot is a result of continuing with the work of self-realization. So there's nothing special you need to do. It's it comes in the wake of the whole everything we talked about yet. Every time when you're attending a family constellation workshop, another aspect of yourself will be revealed, and blind spots will be cleared as well. Even if you're just observing or representing, you don't need to have your own constellation. Yeah. Every time you're resonating positively with your family system or with the family system of somebody else who has the same issue, it will energetically lift the burden of you as well. Unsolved family entangles are also a form of blind spots, obviously. So this is why we are continuing to work until these are all lifted. They are especially important to be looked at and cleared when starting to work with family constellations, of course, right? Because you want to broaden your own perspective and not stay narrow and have limitations, if you will. A resolved mother relationship is key to success. We know that when we work with clients and family constellation. So also for all of us, always the same. There is always something unclear with our mother, so we are continuing to working on our mother relationship. That will help us on all levels of existence, even to clear blind spots. Yeah. So that is important. That we don't think, I have done 3 interrupted movements with my mother, and then I had 2 constellations where my mother was there, and now everything is fine. That's not quite like it is, You are constantly doing it. It will come up. You have a partner issue. You have a money issue. You have an issue with your profession or with your job or with your boss. That's all coming back to mothers, right? And remember, it might not be your mother issue. It might be an entanglement with your mother in the ancestor line. So you never know until you look at it or let it be revealed, even if you don't look at it when you are representing, right? That is a good thing. This healing takes place even though we are not working on ourselves with a family constellation. And now we talk about lakatosis. So it's actually translated as the disease of neediness, lakatosis. Yeah, there's always something lacking, and we all have this disease. Like it's almost like that's like the inheritance we get when we are born. That we feel this neediness, this lack. There's something missing. If we just would have this, then everything would be good. If we would just have that, then everything. If we would just look like it, or be like it, or have that, or have not that, or if this person wouldn't be around, or then everything would be good, right? And that's all a sign of lakatosis. Kerstin?
Is this like the glass is always half full or half empty, or no?
Half
the
empty or
glass is
empty,
always
yeah, or empty in
Yeah.
this way. So there's need to water. There's need to fill it up. Yeah, there's this need to fill it up.
Okay.
Yeah. It is a way. It is a way of perceiving, of course. Yeah. That's true. But it's also more a deeper traumatic emotion. So it cannot completely be healed with mind activities. Just to say that's ridiculous. I have everything. I know that. It still makes not this need to fill in something because something is missing. It's on a deep emotional level. It is a need to be loved mostly, like on the bottom line, the need to be accepted, the need to be seen, the need to be wanted, and most often the need to be needed. That's all lakatosis. You don't need to be loved. Do you know that? That doesn't make you happy to be loved. It can be a really bad burden. There's no need to be loved. You are love. This is what you are. right? There is no need to look for it. You can't give it, you can't take it. It's just there because this is the substance of your beingness. The rest is all mind activity that is overlaying it with other words and shadows and stuff. So there is no need to be loved. And there's also no need to be need to be accepted, because you are acceptance. By accepting everybody as they are, everything as it is, you are acceptance. Right? And if you understand that you are acceptance, there's no need to be accepted anymore. Same with the need to be seen. You are seeing. That's what you are. You don't need to see. You don't need to be seen. It's all happening. Right? The need to be wanted is also biggie, yeah? And of course, the need to be needed, especially the helper, has this lakatosis syndrome, need to be needed, yeah? And that is also, it's also kind of dissolving itself, the need to be needed. When you understand that everything is in the right place at the right time, then there is no need to be needed. You are not needed to help. Yeah. But you have been chosen. So might as well go for it. There's a trap, especially for family constellation facilitator, but also for other family facilitators, another lakatosis sign, the need of the group experience. Right? So let this sink in. And when you now know the group is a mother, then you know what lack that is. It's a lack to be loved by the mother. And you wouldn't believe how many you can see that people who are, they're not only family constellation facilitators, like everybody who's leading like a self-help group, for example, or whatever kind of group. Like some people, they are completely blooming up and are completely different personalities when they are leading a group, and they are so looking forward to that and to do that, and then when they don't have the group, they are crumbling back into their what they think is an insignificant life. But when they have the group, then they are, there we are. They are kind of rising from the ashes, and that is the basis of this lakatosis. So the healing here is obviously to do the mother work, as we said in the slide before. Continues to do the mother work. Okay, now we are going to 2 challenges in family constellation. Oh, before we do that, questions to this, because we are leaving now personal development. Koini, you go.
Yeah. So on your previous slide, so is it very important to have unconditional self-love, so that we don't have we no need to be loved. We don't suffer from the need to be needed.
What's your question? Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah, I mean in the previous slide. So we have discussed about the need to be needed, the need to be loved, the lakatosis syndrome.
Yeah.
So is the solution to have unconditional self-love?
Unconditional self-love, is that what you ask?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I have to say yes, that is the solution, which is inevitably coming on your path of self-realization. This is nothing you are creating. There's nothing you can study.
It's always there.
It is always there. You need to shed all these layers of stuff around that is hindering you in accessing it. Yeah, because at the rock bottom line, we are all the same as the creator, if you will. The source of love is who we are. We are from that. We are the same source. That's who we are. But then we are creating with sometimes really funny and exciting personalities and stuff around us that makes kind of creates dramas in life, and it's like a screenplay. Yeah. And we can actually still enjoy that, so now the thing is, if you're on the path of self-realization, there is not a point when, like, you would think from ancient teachings where you're attracting into a cave and you don't want to have to do anything with the world anymore because it's all Maya, it's all illusion, That's not the case. It becomes really funny. You are observing it like a good Netflix series. Yourself, how you act, how others are acting. You are detached from that. You are not identifying with it anymore. You know it's not you. And all of a sudden, this is all fun and really enjoyable. And there's really nothing that makes you fear or angry or any of these emotions, because it is just, it's just fun to watch. And then was this a Dalai Lama, or I don't want to quote anybody wrongly, but I think it was a Dalai Lama. He said he's laughing randomly 30 minutes a day because he can. That's the way to look at the world. Yeah. And then another quote was, if there's, I'm not sure if it's from him, but it is, if there's anything in your life that you're observing that you cannot laugh about, you have something to work on. You should be able to really be able to laugh about everything that you observe in your life. That is detachment from it. And that doesn't make you a weird guru sitting in a cave not being interested in it. That makes you super interested in what's happening, because all of a sudden it's not frightening anymore. It's really enjoyable and entertaining. And at any moment you can walk away from it. At any moment you can turn away and say, now I want to meditate. Now I'm tired of this. Or disinterested. You are not attached to it anymore. You don't need it. There's no lakatosis. So you choose. You choose the moments you want to be quiet. You choose the moments you want to, and then you choose the moments where you want to be entertained. I think that's marvelous.
That's
a
interesting.
lovely state of being. Yes. And remember, we are not looking for an end. So this is why we call it the path to self-realization. We are not saying that there is a goal. There is not a goal to be self-realization. No? So you can enjoy every step towards it, because that's who you are. Every step, there is not an end to it, right? I don't think we can ever, and we won't even ever. I don't even know how to describe it to be self-realized. It is this step where when we have this earthly experience and we make the best out of it. By using it for self-realization, and we are using it when we are detached from it and be able to look at it and enjoy it. More that we enjoy it because we know we have created all this crap. Because we are the center of our own universe. Nobody did that for us. So that's even more reason to laugh about it, right? So let's talk about any other question to that? Self-realization or personal development? Otherwise, we move on. Okay, cool. So there are two common challenges in family constellation that I want to introduce you to today, so we can spend time on it. One is to deal with mentally impaired participants. Now, what is that? Well, that could be anything really, but so you get a sense of mentally impaired participants. They have this. Well, first of all, they cannot connect to the field. That's one thing, right? They are too much in their mind, and their mind is very distorted. Yeah, and this is what makes them unrest and not really able to pick up resonances from the morphogenetic field. And the most severe one is schizophrenia, of course, right? And actually, schizophrenia is something we have a whole chat in the community training community site. Read through it. There are videos linked. Bert Hellinger has a video there when he was working with parents who has a schizophrenic child. However, he has clearly said that healing of schizophrenic is not possible because there are two opposing dynamics in one person. So you cannot clear one dynamic without enforcing the others, you know? So this is why there is not true healing, and that goes also hand in hand with what the psychology says, that you can only manage schizophrenia and psychotic episodes, but you cannot heal them. Like, they don't go away. If I say that, I'm repeating what Bert Hellinger said, and I always add that, what do we know? Maybe there will be one case and it is the other way. Maybe there's healing possible. I don't want to, discard it and put the lid on it. Not at all. But I'm just warning you, don't try to heal with a family constellation a mentally impaired participant. It's not happening. It would be divine intervention if it's happening. But with our tools of the orders of love, we cannot really help. Yeah. This is why we don't invite them to workshops anyhow. And this one that Bert Hellinger was in this video that you can see there was linked. There's your YouTube video. It was not the schizophrenic person there. It was their parents. They had a schizophrenic child. So, if we have a mildly mentally impaired participant, let's see. The other one is family secrets that I also want to talk about it. So, the signs of a mentally impaired person in the family constellations are they cannot comply with the rules. That's one thing. That you say, please don't get up during a constellation. Wait if you have to go to the loo or what for a constellation to be ended before the new one started, and they would just nervously get up and do stuff. So that's one thing. They demand your attention more than anybody else. That's also a sign of mentally impaired participants. They're never content with the outcomes, always want more. That's also a sign. Yeah. They can be polite. I'm not saying they're aggressive or nasty in any way. They can be polite and nice, but they are, they are insisting. And they can run out of the room or leave the seat and run around restless. Then you know. They can even do that in the family constellation. I had one clearly, I didn't know that at the time, but then I knew it, a participant in the family constellation. She was representing somebody and she totally freaked out. She totally freaked out. She was running around. She was screaming and this and that. And remember when I said the movement is not slow, it's not coming from the field. And she was literally running around, and then she finally ran out of the door and in the garden, and we saw her through the window running around in the garden. This has nothing to do with the morphic field. This has nothing to do with the representative. She wasn't connected. This was her. And when you and another thing is takes over a role without being asked. Like, I have to go in this constellation. I'm drawn into the constellation without asking you, without raising your hand, without any sense of reasoning or obeying the rules. They just jump into the family constellation. That's another one. They claim to not be able to get out of a role, which is impossible because, as you know, they are not in a role. They have, if they are truly connected to the morphogenetic field, they would receive an information, and when the family constellation is over, the information is back in the field. It's not downloaded. It's still in the cloud. So there is nothing to come out, right? But if they claim they're not to be able to get out of the role with all this restlessness that you then see, then you know they have never been connected. That's them. That's then a little bit more extreme. They think they are possessed by the family member they have represented, right? All of them. They hear voices. That's a biggie. So when you know how it is, because you all have multiple times represented, you don't hear voices. You have a knowingness of an information, right? There's not a voice, a female or a male voice whispering in your ear, "I'm angry," right? That's not how it works. But these people who are mentally impaired, they do hear a voice, yeah, that tell them what to say or what to do. It's not the field. Not the field, it's them. And remember, mentally impaired participants, they are very strong identified with their mind. Yeah. So they have no room of no mind. They cannot meditate or anything like that. They are always obsessed with what happens that they think of. They want to tell you what to do. They sometimes do that. And the most severe case is schizophrenia, of course, right? So, I have given it away. I did that before, so now you know. What is the reason for schizophrenia in a family system? Two opposing dynamics that cannot be healed. You heal one, the other one goes up. You good, this other one goes up. It goes like this, yeah. What are the signs of schizophrenia in the family system? Now we are talking mentally impaired participants, but you can have a family constellation and you find these symptoms in one representative who is representing a schizophrenic person from the family system, who is not themselves mentally impaired. So they are connected to the field, and now they show the signs because that's who they represent. And there's one sign that gives it away clearly, and that is going or even running in circles. When they are running in circles, then they are representing a schizophrenic person. So running in circle means this. So physically running inside or outside the chairs in circle or around themselves. Or I have seen that once in a virtual workshop that they did that with their head. And instead of running, they were swaying with their head like this. So there's other signs of schizophrenia in the family system. In the video you see of Bert Hellinger, the schizophrenic child has been twisted and torn by the parents. So it was not running in circle, it was like a back and forth movement. That can be also. So all these kinds of movements that makes clear they are trapped, they are twisted and torn, there is this two dynamics going on. They cannot solve, that cannot be solved, right? When you see that, then that is hinting of schizophrenia in the family system. And that is normally, so there are mainly two ways to deal with it. The first one is to break it up, of course, when you know that's not leading anywhere. The second one is to go along and see if this is important for the family constellation, because it might not. It might just, there's might another dynamic that you can help healing. So don't focus too much on the schizophrenic one. See what else is there, yeah? And go with that. And often you find, because it's just a member of the family with schizophrenia, doesn't mean that this is the source, the origin of the issue of the client that needs to be solved. That doesn't mean it. So see if there's something else going on that you can help solving. And that's how you deal with schizophrenia and family constellation, if you don't want to break it up. But do not focus on the schizophrenia and try to find the dynamic, and the words and try to hear that. That's a waste of time. You can try it to see for yourself. Of course, you don't need to believe me. If you ever have this case, just go ahead and do it just to reassure yourself that that is leading nowhere. Until this one case comes along where it all of a sudden does. right? So I don't want to put the lid on that. And the other one is a family secret. Did we not recently had a family secret in a practice workshop? We did, eh? Kerstin, remind me, what was it again? Do you remember?
I can't remember the girl's name because she couldn't finish jobs. You know, she started everything and she couldn't finish anything.
Mm-hmm.
She was going all over the place. You know, she said, "I start this and then I start that. Even I know I should be doing this or that." And then it actually came out that there is a family secret, and it seemed to be quite close, like that she might even have been there.
Ah, yeah. Do you remember how we solved that?
No, I think I can't. I don't know if this is when I had to leave because my internet connection was so bad. No, but it was a no because it was a training workshop. It was a training.
Yeah, I remember
I
it was
know
a training.
I can't remember.
Don't know details.
I can't remember. Sorry, no.
However, I can tell you how it looks, and so you can see it and what to do to solve it, right? So when a constellation is not moving ahead and no dynamics show up with the representatives, that is a sign of a family secret. How does that look like? Oh, I may make a drawing with my whiteboard that you liked the last time. So let's say we do a family constellation. There are, let's say, 6 people, yeah? And this one is looking here. This one is looking there. This one is looking there. This one is looking there. That one is looking there. And that one is, no, hang on. That one is looking there. Right. Now, when you look at that, where would you start? Where would you start? Who's saying what to whom? You can't, right? There is nobody relating to anybody. If you have nobody relating to anybody, you see no dynamic, right? That's the problem. You cannot even start. And that can also happen within a constellation when you're already in full swing. But it's often the beginning of it. For example, let's take another color. For example, if this person, just as an example, yeah, if this person would look at this person, yeah, although this person doesn't look at him, this is a dynamic. We can start with something. We can suggest a word. Yes, please, or thank you, right? Or we can say, please look at me. Anything. But since he doesn't look at him, he looks there, he cannot say anything to anybody. And that is with every single one in this constellation. What you also not see is a let's take that out. If this would be like this, how can I draw that? Like this. If they would be like this, that is a dynamic. They are avoiding each other. Yeah? So you can work with it. But that is not what you see in the black figurines. Right? There is nobody avoiding anybody. If you would see a circle of people and they would all look out, that's also something. They all avoid somebody in here. Yeah? You can work with that. This is all that gives you hints. But the ones that are black, they give you absolutely nothing to work with. And if you have this case, then it's a family secret. And when it's a family secret, there's only one thing to do. And that means you add a representative for the family secret. And you don't place it anywhere, like, you know, when I draw the circle that and everybody looked outside, then it was obvious to place somebody in the middle, right?
Mhm.
But with a family secret, that's not the case. You would ask somebody from the chair to get up as the family secret and find its own way.
Okay.
And then, let's say he is drawn here and wants to be next to him. Then you know this ancestor, this representative, is a carrier of the family secret. Because a family secret is, by definition, nobody knows about it, only one keeps it secret.
So hang on, Maya. So the black person is the one that carries the secret?
Yeah.
Because the secret wants to go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the it's like a spell, or
Yeah,
like
okay.
it's the
Yeah.
creator of the secret.
Yeah, okay.
Because the
Yeah, I
happening,
just wanted to
yeah, whatever has happened, if the happening would have been communicated, yeah, this thing, which we call a family secret, wouldn't have come into existence. But now it's there. And that's what hidden is always, has always to do with a victim-perpetrator situation. No, not always. No, I take that back. Not always. Most often. Not always.
So could you, like, it's very clear that he's very close, he's getting very close to the one representative. Say he would stay a little bit away, and when you observe it coming in, and you put it all, would you ask then the family secret, for example, is there anyone else you would be drawn to? Could you ask
Yeah, of
that to
course.
maybe?
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Of course. Of course. Choose
If
where
it's
you...
not, if it's not 100% clear that he goes really to one person, so that maybe two have
It
been.
will. It will.
Yeah.
So that's a family secret has no other way than to go to its creator. It's the same with the spell. No other way.
Yeah, okay.
If it's very close or it's obvious. You will see it. It's obvious. Now,
Okay.
when this here comes in, this one will turn around. Gosh, how do I draw that now? Hang on. This one will turn around and look at somebody else. Let's say at this one.
Okay.
Yeah. This one will react to the existence, or the visual, the making visual, because this is the one he hides the secret from. And there is the dynamic, there's the love of flow interrupted. Right? So then you know with whom to work. Yeah. Then you have a dynamic here. You have this is the dynamic to work to. Then you would say, acknowledging what is, yeah, I have done that. I have either committed something or I have hidden something. Yeah. And why would he have to say that to him? Because he was the one that needed to be addressed to. There was a case, gosh, that has to do with a mother who has hidden something that changed the life of her daughter completely around. I don't remember exactly what it was, but that was something. And that then the healing movement was the mother-daughter relationship. Yeah, to heal that. Most often, I have to say, if the family secret comes, everybody will move. And it is kind of the best constellation ever, because you just add one representative and they will all do the thing to solve it. Because in the moment the family secret is present, it's not a secret anymore. And they are all eager to look at it and work with it. And it is a very easy constellation because it's very in the flow then. Right? You will see it when you see it. And it comes often. So next time when it comes up in a workshop or a practice workshop, then you will notice it. You will notice when there is a family secret and we need to add it, and how normally how easy it is to work with family secrets. Once you have realized that is I had that is a while ago, that was before you guys joined in practice groups. There was that was like this, and it was a clear case of a family secret in a practice workshop, and nobody knew it. Nobody remembered. That's the only tricky bit. You need to remember that is what you see, that is the case, right? Otherwise, you don't know what to do with it. Very frustrating, right? So, back to here. Family secrets will remain unresolved in the family constellation is undetected. So you can pot around with all kinds of dynamics that you might or might not see, but nothing really will shift. And why do you know? There will be no sigh of relief in the client. And this is how you start. When you start to work, you will do lots of things, and that's good. You will try lots of things. You will experiment with lots of things. That's good. And you will always have to look at your client after every step you take. Was this a sigh of relief or not? And if it wasn't, you just continue. Yeah, this is how you learn. What else is coming up? Now we have this family secret in a family constellation, but nobody knows what it is, obviously. It's not like in Another Self where we have a director who is giving us historic footage about what happened, right? We don't know. We don't know the family secret, right? Interestingly, and I had a client we had a family secret, and it had to do with her great-grandmother, and she's from New Zealand, from the far south, Bluff, and there were every man went to sea there, and it was a very rugged sea and very dangerous. And she was going to. She lost a son, or her husband, I don't remember, a man in the sea. And her great-grandmother was going to the sea, waiting for them to come back. He never came back. She never talked about that to the other generations. It was absolutely, nobody knew that. Nobody knew that. Then we had a family constellation. Then her great-grandmother appeared with this suffering, and then there was a representative for somebody dead, and that who was, family secret, and then the family secret became somebody dead, and then that was the solution. The client had a sigh of relief. No idea what the great-grandmother was up to. And then, coincidentally, however you call it, 2 weeks later, they had a family gathering down south, and her great-grandma, she's still alive, 90-something, was there too. And now with this in her mind, she actually went to her great-grandmother and asked her. And what do you think? Her great-grandmother revealed the whole story to her. How she lost either her son or her partner in the sea, and that she went there for years, every day to the sea to hope he comes back. And she would never have asked her. She would never have said anything if she wouldn't have been asked. So this is how family secrets reveal themselves often after family constellation, because one family member all of a sudden gets in contact and says something which has never been talked about before. That is the beauty about the soul moving, soul healing method. that it ripples through everybody, and it relieves them, and they are willing and happy to talk about all of a sudden. So what we just did in this little drawing is finding what means is to add a representative for the secret to the constellation and observe the movement of the switch. Just observe them. They will unravel themselves. There's not much to do. It's just the first. So the importance of the facilitator in this situation is to realize that it's a family secret. And the rest is normally going quite well, quite easily. So I have another quote for you. And that is actually what I was thinking of with the answers. This is also from Rainer Maria Rilke. Be patient with all that is unsolved in your heart and love the questions themselves. And I like to be patient with all that is unsolved in your heart, right? Like locked rooms and like books that are written in a very foreign tongue. Do not seek the answers which cannot be given you because you would not be able to lift them. The questions have a life of their own. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Then someday you will gradually, without even noticing it, have been living your way into the answer. And the beautiful thing is, in the moment you ask a question, you are not ready for the answer anyhow. Because you wouldn't ask the question if you would be ready for the answer. So I need to be very patient, and you have your questions, and keep the questions sacred and see what happens. Just by repeating, asking yourself the question without expecting an answer to it. So that was our module 3, and we are so on time, it's unbelievable. Of course, we have time for questions and wrap up, and if you don't have any questions, then just give us a sentence or so, give us your thought on the module and what you take home as a main important message for you that you will not forget, and that has kind of resonated with you the most. So just unmute everybody and have a little discussion.
For me, this saying came into mind: the teacher appears when the student is ready.
Yeah.
It has nothing to. It obviously has nothing to do with what we learned, but it is obviously because it just came.
Yeah. Totally. So trust is the magic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Don't rush. Don't be impatient. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I'm looking forward to laugh about, oh, this is unfair. Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm so glad you say that. That's fantastic.
I think, yeah, that's really gonna be cool if I can say, yeah, Maya gave me the permission. I can laugh about it.
Exactly. Wonderful. You have to share when you find something that is unfair, and you can truly embrace it. And you can be unfair and say, I'm unfair, yes! Very good. All right.
I have a question, Maya. When you had the person running around outside, how did you respond or deal with that situation?
Yeah, good question. So in this case, it is important that you do what you do. You don't forget that you are facilitating a client's issue, and these mentally impaired people are not taking the power for themselves. So you continue with what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't be distracted. You don't break it up. You do give all your love into what you were starting. And then on the corner of your eye, you see what this person is doing, right? And actually, they will always come back. because, you know, they have a strong ego and they don't like to be out alone for long without any audience. And then maybe after the constellation you have a little break, and then you take them to the side and say, look, we have our rules here. You cannot run around. You have to sit on your chair. If you can't do that, I totally understand that, but can you then please leave? That would be one. Or they would come to you and say, I'm totally possessed with this representative. It's really driving me mad. And they would get all the fantasies going, right? And then you would say, and then you just play with them. And then you would say, okay, I make that go away. Close your eyes. And you don't need to do anything. And then you say, I do this and that. You can't see it. Just close your eyes. I will clear you of all of this, right? And you just pretend. And then you count to 3. And when I count to 3, it's all gone. Right? And you do something magic with your hands, which you can't see anyhow, so you don't need to do anything really. And then you count to 3. 1, 2, 3. And then she will open the eyes and said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Don't take this. Just let these people not dominate your workshop, right?
Mm.
Yeah, that would be a shame for all the others.
Thank you.
Okay. And what has stuck with you the most, Karen?
I think I like the questioning. I like the idea of, you know, sitting with the question, staying with the question. But I like the idea that if you're asking the question, you're likely not ready for the answer. I think that's that amuses
Telling.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
it's very telling. Yeah. So I
Because
think
we're
I
also
like that
eager
one.
for the
Those
answer.
things.
Yeah.
The seeking and the reward, you know, the release from the question.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to learning from the question.
So when you have a question and the answer comes too quickly, guess what? Or when you discuss, so let's say in a discussion, let's say in a conversation, somebody asks you something, and you give you give actually an answer to that. Is it not that they immediately have another question? Like this is how it goes, right? Because they don't want really your answer because they're not ready for it. They want to question all the time. Yeah. That's just what they want. They want to question. They don't want the answers anyhow. That's a good one. And Coiny, what has stuck with you?
Yeah. The phrase that you cannot give what you don't have.
Very good.
So I think I read somewhere in the book Acknowledging What Is. So I think Bert Hellinger says for a facilitator who has gone through a lot in life, the life experience kind of like it's sort of like a weightage that it helps in facilitating the section. So I think this is the same thing that you are trying to tell us.
Yeah.
That our life experience does matter. Because if you go through a lot of things, provided we can process all the emotion well, that it becomes that the experience and the lessons and the wisdom has ingrained and become part of us.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Janet, what is your last word?
So I want to share, today was a really iffy day, but Maya, you know, as I've opened up a little bit about me and my mother's relationship. So 2 weeks ago, I had reached out to my mother, just inviting her out. You know, I would like to reunite with her and either go shopping or go for a coffee. And she didn't respond. And so today I got a response from her, but it was more like 10 messages. And in the past, I used to find myself like really upset when I first read the first message and just block her. But today I really sat and I let my intuition guide me, and I do not block her. I just let it float. And it wasn't to the extreme because she's the type to like really like explode and kind of get a little ghetto on me, unprofessional. And she sounded really like peaceful, like she expressed herself in a peaceful way. But in other words, long story short, she basically said, forget about who gave you birth, forget about me. Basically said, I don't want you to be in my life, I don't want to hear anything from you. And you could hear her words like as she was expressing to me, like she had so much pain, like she was, it hurt me. I mean, it hurt me, but it didn't really like to the point like where I would catch myself depressed about it, like where I would just like be so sad about it, like begging my mom or chasing her. And so when I sat down and I had like some meditation music in the background while I was getting all her messages, and I sat down and like all these tears just like rolling down my face like for 2 hours. But it was like more like a, not like a really like depressing like sadness or tears. It was like I was just releasing everything I was holding, and it felt like a big ball of emotions that were stuck like in me for so long. And after like that whole scene and I saw the messages and everything, like I felt peaceful. Like I felt that I cannot change anything, that I cannot, it is what it is. I tried my best. And it comes around like what we talked about, like unsolved emotions and clearing those emotions. And so when I was going through that whole, that whole moment, I just started breathing. I started breathing and I just like I stretched out and I was like just letting go, and it felt so good. Like it just felt so good. And it's really sad because I've tried so hard. But then like you said, we might not see each other right now or at all, but I'm still working with my mother and my father's relationship from a long distance.
Yeah.
And so I think today's class I learned a lot because it brought me back to reminding to keep doing personal development and clearing the emotions, because I'm a Pisces, so I'm a very emotional person. And I'm very tired, but because I was crying today, so I'm like yawning the whole time, and it's 1 a.m. in my time. But I really resonate with like what I learned today, like about emotions, about how personal development and like health is key to really, staying grounded.
Wonderful. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing. What a long journey, right? Remember when you
Yeah.
started, when we first met. What a wonderful journey.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to see you happy. And remember, it's not about your mother, it's about you. You can keep the flow of love towards your mother open. It doesn't matter what she does.
Okay.
That for your life, this doesn't matter.
Okay.
Huh?
And I also wanted to mention, I really like the needing, there's no need to be loved, because it's not an excuse. I mean, my mother was never a loving person. She was always like pushing me away. And so when I experienced with a friend that pushed me away, I was so offended. I was like, it almost brought me back to a scene where my mom did that to me. And it reminded me that, yeah, it's correct. Like, there's no need for me to be like, what is it, lactose, like wanting to be needed all the time, or finding, for my feelings to be validated, and just being in unconditional love, as opposed to wanting and wanting and wanting just because, my mom or my dad, like. So I'm really learning a lot about unconditional love, and it takes time, but
You are so young.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You are starting on your journey very early, Janet. Anyhow, very early. Well done. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing,
you.
everyone. And this concludes the module 3. Next time I see you is, I believe, next weekend. We have a workshop. Yeah? So don't forget to sign up. You can sign up anytime. You don't need to wait till the workshop starts. That's actually too late. Yeah. And then the recordings will probably be up by next week too. And I'll make sure that you can see them. If not, send me a message. But I think I have sorted that problem. Kerstin have already said that it's all good. So you should be able to. Okay. Right. So I leave you with this. Bye.
So Maya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.